Welcome, I am Orlando and you are watching Sin City Cycling, and on today's shop we have a 1986 Centurion Ironman David Scott edition, and it is covered in Shimano 600 gear. I believe this was the middle of the road bike back then according to the research I did. It was a rather expensive bike back in the day, but today's project is going to be stripping it down so I can get it ready to refurbish and ride and enjoy. This bike looks like it hasn't been ridden in about 20 years, and we're going to have to go through it and make sure that it's capable of being safe out on the road. So let's go ahead and get into it. All right, for the most part, everything seems to be pretty original here. We have Shimano 600, which I'm going to guess is the Tiagra of the generation. I don't think there was an Ultegra yet, so I think 105 was the next up. So everything here, Shimano 600. I believe even the hubs too, we can see here. I don't see any writing. They do say Shimano. So I think, yeah, there's Shimano 600 as well. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's an actual 12-speed bike. It is a 1986 edition, which I was able to find out by the color. I wonder what that thing's for. Little spike. I'm gonna focus on it. Anyway, sharp. Don't know why it's there. But it is friction shift. It still has a lot of the original equipment on here. What's the word I'm looking for? Era-specific computer. The rims are all pretty decent. It does look like it has the original tires on here, so obviously I'm going to have to replace those. The brakes are all locked up. I did pick up some new brake pads for it, so I'm not quite sure if these are going to fit in there, but they look like they are. I was unable to find the actual ones that they have on here with these little metal backings, but I'm pretty sure that I can make these work. So I'm hoping that they will, because I want to use the original brakes and the rest of the original equipment that's on here. I did order some hoods from China. They're still on the way here, so I'll have to work around that. I was considering saving this cabling, but it's pretty old, so I think it's 5mm like the brake stuff, because it's just friction, so it's not STI. It doesn't have to be a hard casing, so I might use brake line for pretty much everything here. So yeah, so I'm not even sure what that is. It's like some kind of springy stuff. Yeah, I haven't worked on a bike this old since I was a kid, so I've been looking forward to this one, like I was mentioning when we were doing the mountain bike. But everything here seems to be completely original. So I'm going to go ahead and start stripping it down, and we'll start taking a look at a lot of it. And check this out. I've been saving these for a while, and these are some period correct Spd pedals. And they were one of the first released, and are still functional, and will work with the regular cleats. So I'm excited to use these on the build as well. I've been saving them for something specific just like this, and now finally I have a reason to use them, which I'm excited about. That came out easier than I thought. These are just dust covers for the actual bolt. I see. I guess I'll get the other one off the other side, because it looks like I'll have to remove each side individually. I'm surprised how easy those came out. I'm sure the nut inside won't be as easy. think I got it. Trying my best not to hit my knuckles on there. All right. Man, it does not want to come off. Silly like that. Alright, I just watched a quick video on some vintage stuff here, and the tool that I have for this lock ring removal doesn't fit. So I'm going to try this suggestion, and apparently they spin clockwise. So oh, there it goes. I'm seeing it. I saw you move. All right. Well, apparently that was a lock ring. Wrench. Right. All right, well, let's put some more penetrating oil on there, and I guess we'll come back to that again. We might have to hit it on a different day. We're going to go back to the crank here and see if penetrating oil has helped us out in removing it. This is a square taper bottom bracket. Feel it giving. Yeah. Now you fucker. Yeah. Who's the champion of the world now? Shimano crank. Alright, we got that one, so now we just gotta get the other side there. Nice. I love the vintage. What? What's that? Alright, so we'll do the same thing with this side here. I'm going to lay it on its side, spray some WD in there to penetrate so we can remove. Alright, I let that WD soak for about 10 minutes. And I'm going to attempt to remove this other crank arm here. If you guys aren't familiar, this is part tool number CCP22. It is a square taper bottom bracket removing tool. Take that, Shimano. And there we have our Shimano cranks, which we had to severely fight to get off. And it looks like it's going to be a 5242. They are pretty crank. Once they're all clean, they'll be pretty sweet looking. Biopace, computer design drive system. Interesting. Let's see if we see any other markings on here. FC 6207, 175. I'm going to assume that's millimeters. That's the length. Looks like it's made in Japan, just like all of the newer stuff. And It's going to take me some time. So what I'm going to do is for this first video, I'm going to remove all the parts. And this might actually be a three-parter. So I'll remove the parts. We'll clean the parts. Then we'll reinstall the parts and get them working. So right now I'm just working on removing them so we can clean everything. So we're starting there. Okay, I moved on to the bottom bracket while I have some other stuff soaking. You can see how this is notched around the outside, and I've had to pretty much dig out all of my ancient tools here. And what we have here is an older bottom bracket lock ring removal tool, which fits into the little notches here, so we can remove it. Okay. I just noticed it was just moving. There we go. All right. Now I know this thing is going to come out of there too, so it goes on the right way. I'll probably have to go back to the video to see how this shit goes back together. Yeah, that's chunky. It needs to be done. Okay. Now, what that's what this one's for. Yep. Alright, so you go the other way. I got a feeling the bearings are going to come flying out of here. Oh, and there they are in there. Nice. Okay, looks like we might just do it this way. I have those other bearings in there, so I'm assuming that goes over the middle. So we have our piece here. So this somehow keeps crap off of it. Okay. Get them out of there. Okay, so we'll just put them in that way and leave that other side on there. So I went ahead and used the pick to pull out the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and clean these up and re-lube and put them back in. All right. Got our bearings here. This is alcohol in a spray bottle. Let me see, you can see now. Okay. Crazy how it's such a good shape. This stuff is, maybe this bike was really very ridden. Alright, that's our drive side. Looking all nice and shiny. This is our non-drive. Okay, make it dry. So it looks like we'll be able to at least get the bottom bracket done today, which makes me feel a little better. I accomplished something. I really wanted to get all these parts off, but I suppose I should have expected it to be extremely difficult and frozen on, but I always hope for the best and never plan for the worst. Okay, so that's that one. Let's clean you out. Okay. That is some old grease. Well, that was the cool thing about bottom brackets during this time here. You could just take them out and service them without having to buy a new one. You know, it was really hard to screw up your bearings. You know, if you ran them without grease, you could screw up the race on the inside here. So, you know, you might have to replace, but, you know, if you took care of your bike, man, that stuff lasted. You know, once a year, you probably have to take this thing apart and go through and clean and make sure everything is good. All right, now it's looking good. Okay. I got my park tool grease. Okay. That's in there. Over on the outside. All right, Alright, so one of them's got to be different. I'm going to assume that this one is the drive side. Wasn't expecting that this thing would be two different sizes on each end, so. Alright. Now, I wasn't able to remove that dust cover from the other side, so I'm cleaning it out through the bottom bracket there. It goes like that. Okay. Okay. I don't want to go too tight. I don't want any play in it either. Yeah. It's funny because it's like everybody who drives by here feels the need to stop and wave. Right. There's a plate, and there's nothing to do. Okay, cheese up. Tell the how much. What I'm going to do is it's small grease on the same side. I get off next time. Okay. All right. There, folks, is your vintage bottom bracket. Hopefully I put it back in the right way because as we saw there, one size is longer than the other. Oh, here it says quality from Japan, but signed in the USA. Now it's China where everything is made. I think the only requirement for saying a bike is built in the United States is to have the frame built here. The parts can be assembled anywhere and still be called made in the United States. So if you see made in the USA, chances are it was probably built, the frame wise, in America and sent off to be built in China. Okay, I rigged up a bit driver to try and get this one out of here, and I was able to loosen it by tapping it with the hammer here. So let's see if we can finally remove this. I'm not really sure how the construction goes here and what's going to happen, but we will find out together. Oh, there are a bunch of bearings there, huh? Okay, so it's like a little bearing race there where the bearings ride on it. And I don't know if you guys can see in there, but there is a significant little row of bearings in there. So I'm going to be really careful when I take this apart so I don't spill them everywhere. So bear with me, I'm going to cut back. Okay, we are at the removal point here. Oh boy, yeah, those are all coming with. That is going to be difficult to catch them all. So, let's see if I put this magnet underneath here. You know, let's just dump it over. Let's do this. Alright. I know I lost some of them. motherfucker. Alright, that's how it goes together. There's the freewheel, little notches, and this piece is actually a Shimano piece as well, so I think I'm going to keep it since it's original Shimano. Normally I take these silly things off, but today I'm just going to clean it. Yeah, it says right here Shimano. Okay, that's off, so now I can service the bearings on that. Alright, I think I'll put it back together while I still remember how here. Man, that's going to be difficult to mess with. You can see how tiny all of these little bearings are, or maybe you can't. There. You can see how tiny all of these little bearings are here. Getting some neat play action because they're all magnetized now, so I hope that I found them all. I think I dropped too many. They would be contained in this little area. Alright, so yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do this rear wheel and clean this cassette. Alright, I really just wanted to grease this thing, so again, I'm using alcohol, which, you know, is something everybody should have in their shop. It's just such a versatile thing. Use it for so many different things. Alright, I'm starting to put the bearings back in here, and I added a small coating of grease, and you can see here, well maybe you can't, but I started placing the bearings around here, and I thought it was just initially in the top area here, but this area looks like it needs bearings as well, and I have so many in the tray here that there has to be 2 locations. So I'm going to put these in the back here, and then I'm going to lay the rim on top of it. I'm using the grease to stick it in there, so. I hope I'm right about bearings being in both areas. But I don't see how else this thing could spin if it didn't. But anyway, you see what I'm doing anyway. I'm not going to have you sit through the whole thing, but that's what we're doing, and we'll get to the other side in a minute. Okay, just about got all of the bearings back into this thing, and it took me a good 20 minutes to do, and you can see here, I don't know if you can even see it on the thing, but you can see how small these bearings are. And I don't think I lost any, but I will go through, make sure I didn't. Okay. All right. Let me see if I can pick this up so you can see in there. I don't know if you can see all the tiny little bearings in there, but there's a circle of bearings here and then underneath, which I guess takes up for the hub not really having bearings on this side. Oh man, this is a lot more in depth than I thought it would be. This might have to be a multiple parter here. I'm at a stopping point, and I'm not going to do much more than put this freewheel back together here. So, okay, I finished the back. That's all serviced. I'm getting ready to do the front. I'm going to go ahead, because it is kind of crunchy, I'm going to go ahead and pull the bearings and clean and re-grease. And you don't really have to do this with modern bikes. Most of those bikes are all seal bearing setups, so this is just a vintage bike type of thing. And I have a magnet here. Let me see. Magnet to pull out the bearings once I get the axle out. And I have a magnetic tray, as we saw, to catch all the bearings and keep them from getting lost. It's finally nice and cool enough here in Vegas that I can actually get some real work done out here, so I love this time of year. Okay. Now I'm only really going to loosen the one side here because I don't want to lose the spacing. Now I'm going to use my magnet here, to get all the bearings out. And I'll drop them into my magnetic tray so they don't roll. Okay. All right, I think that's it. You can kind of see how they're sealed in there. They got this little cap, which I believe is removable. It's been a while since I've done these, but I think that you can pull that out, but I'm not going to mess with it just in case. But I do believe that that little cap does pop out. And then you can see in my tray here how I have everything all magnetically held in there. So, and I have the axle pieces in order, so when I put them back together, you can see how they go, or I can see how they go. And this is just going to be the first part. We'll do the assembly of everything in another video. So this first part is just going to be the taking apart of everything and cleaning and getting ready to go. And you can see how much nicer that rolls. Well, maybe you didn't see how it rolled before, but take my word for it, it rolls better now. Now, clean the chain wheel on these cranks here. Get all this stuff off. Hopefully it comes off easy. All right, well, that's pretty good there. It's got a lot of the old stuff off. Okay, so we've reached a quick stopping point. I'm gonna do the rest in another video. I'm gonna go ahead and probably remove all the derailleurs and recable. I have some new bar tape for it. I also have hoods that are supposed to be coming, so I will be able to replace those. But we've got most of the hard work done. As far as the bearings, that's like the most involved work and the most dirty work. So I'm glad that that's finished. I just need to reassemble the cranks and get busy on the cabling, and we should be able to ride this bike by the next episode. As always, I am Orlando. You have been watching Sin City Cycling. Peace.